I have been doing a lot of baking, and recently I have been using these two mixers here. I have the 15 quart commercial mixer as well as my 5.5 quart KitchenAid mixer. So I wanted to do a comparison to show them both off and kind of give you the details about what makes them different than each other, of course, other than the big size difference here. So for starters, they do actually both come with the same tools, the same attachments. So these are not an upgrade or anything you have to buy separately. They come with those 3 pieces. For the commercial mixer, obviously a lot larger, as you can tell, for the 15 quart versus the 5.5 quart. But we do have those 3 pieces that come with both mixers. Then just the initial looks of everything. Of course, this one's gonna be a lot larger. This is 100 or 150 pounds or so. So this commercial mixer is very, very heavy. The KitchenAid mixer, I can still lift it. Of course, it's got a good weight to it. I do have my little sliding mat under here to allow me to move it easily. And then from there comes down to all of the little differences as well. The commercial mixer actually has this top little wire cage here that you'll turn here, and it won't actually allow you to turn on the mixer until that cage is closed and the bowl has been raised up to the cage. To raise it, there is actually a lever on the side here that you just twist and turn here, and it'll just rise right up to that cage. And then you can see that it's in place, locked and loaded, ready to go. Both mixers have the same way of going ahead and adding the attachments in. So it has the same shape where it has a little protrusion piece here. You'll slide it right on and lock it into place like so. The KitchenAid mixer has the same thing here. So once I go ahead and lift the KitchenAid mixer, you can see the dough hook here has that same shape as the commercial mixer. And it's now secured and on, and then the top will just be lowered for the KitchenAid and it's ready to go. Just have the lock in place there so you know that it's stable. Nothing can be lifted up while you're mixing doughs and heavier batters and things like that. Now the KitchenAid does have these different levels here, different powers here. And of course the KitchenAid does also specify which level to use for what kind of dough or batter, things like that. So it'll let you know based on thickness of your batter and your dough, which level to use there. So the first main difference here is, unlike the KitchenAid mixer, the commercial mixer doesn't have the different number levels for speed control. It actually just has these 3 settings that this handle can be placed to. So for the traditional whisk, you'll use the high setting here because it's typically thought to be a thinner batter to use a whisk. The low is for the dough hook because that is typically thought to be the thickest dough or batter in the mixing bowl here. And then you have that middle speed here, which is that paddle attachment there. And that one's typically good for like cookie batters, a little bit thicker, but not as thick as a dough and not as thin as a cake batter, for example. And then it does also have that start button and the stop button here. So this one just gets twisted and pops out. So it won't start up like the KitchenAid mixer automatically when you switch the speed. You do have to press the start and the stop to control it there, which adds a little bit more control for the commercial mixer, which you do want when you have such a large mixer and so much going into this 15 quart container. And then attachment for the 2 different bowls on their mixers. You can see the KitchenAid has these little protrusions. So it does just actually put right in there, and you'll want it to catch on those protrusions, and it tightens right in like that. So now it's nice and secure, nice and easy to add that in there. And then we're gonna have these little side hooks here that will go ahead and secure it to the bowl itself. When you're ready to remove it, you take those off of both sides. And then once both sides are removed from their secure attachment piece there, you'll actually just raise this large bowl right up off of those side prongs, as you can see here. And then that entire 15 quart bowl will be able to be removed that way. So slightly different methods of removing the bowls and adding the bowls and securing them, of course, because we do need a little bit more security when talking about such a large commercial mixer here. And I'll just put those back on like this. And then the bowl is nice and stable and secure. Now, of course, typically you're going to consider size when purchasing one of these. I will say for myself, I bake a lot of breads, sourdough breads and things like that. So having the stronger, larger mixer is a huge deal in being able to make a ton of loaves at once. This one is great for if I'm wanting to do 1 or 2 loaves of bread at a time. It cannot handle more than that because it burns off the oil in the belt so fast. So I will say that this one is great for at-home projects and smaller projects. This one is obviously going to be great for doing a ton all at once and consistently as well. The commercial mixer is 600 watts, just for an idea of power, versus the KitchenAid, which is 325. So you are getting almost double the power in the larger mixer as well, which of course will make a difference if you're making thicker batters or doughs, things like that. So that is something to consider as well if you're looking for more power. However, of course, it also comes down to space. As you can see, pretty obviously, the commercial mixer takes up a lot more space than the KitchenAid. Now, the biggest difference of all between these two, other than size, of course, is that the KitchenAid has this little bonus piece here, and this actually comes in handy a ton for me. I do have some of the different attachments here, so being able to unscrew this and removing the little cover here and putting in different attachments, because they have so many different KitchenAid attachments that go in there, is such a huge bonus of the KitchenAid. I have a few of the attachments and I absolutely love them. I make use of that, honestly, just as much as I do the mixing bowl itself. Being able to use my KitchenAid to make pastas and grind meats and shredding cheeses and all of that fun stuff definitely sets the KitchenAid apart from any other mixers on the market. There is also the fact that the KitchenAid is aesthetically beautiful, so it does have a beautiful look and adds to your kitchen versus something like this, which is going to be nice and large and clunky and not exactly beautiful. But typically, if you're going to purchase a mixer this large, you're probably not looking for something to be super beautiful. You're looking for functionality more than beauty. So that is something to consider if you are looking for something for the home. Overall, these are both great mixers that do their job and have different functionalities that set them apart from each other. When choosing one of these mixers, it's really going to come down to the amount and the power that you're looking for in a mixer. But hopefully my quick comparison of the two has helped you get a better idea of which one could be right for you.